Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Nerd Variety Podcast.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, greet them.
We were waiting for your introductions.
I was waiting for some background with you guys.
Okay.
Hello. Greetings.
It's fine.
We are here. It is us.
Yes.
It's fine.
Again.
Yes.
Yes, it is us. It is I, Josh.
And it is I.
I'm joined by Hunter, Rocket Man, Rafferty.
I think you're thinking Elton John, but okay.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a long time. And down here, well below me, in my perspective, is Hannah. Has the high ground, Hogan, but she does it if I'm from where I'm looking.
Well,
I don't know
better be careful,
how to respond to that.
Better be careful.
Do you have the high
Moral
ground?
high ground? Like
No,
intellectual
like,
high
Obi-Wan.
ground?
Like Obi-Wan.
Yeah, intellectual, yeah.
Probably the
I'll
intellectual
take it.
high ground.
Yeah. You're also in Will's Rivendell, so you could probably definitely have some of the high ground.
It's true.
Yeah.
Defensive high ground?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're never gonna get you
Very
until
high ground.
they do. Until they do.
No.
Yeah. How was everyone's weekend?
Weekends don't mean much to me right now. I mean, I know they probably do to you guys, at least Hannah, I assume.
My weekends
They
are
mean to you.
bizarre. Because I work like 4 to 5 hours every weekday. And then on the weekends, on Sunday, I work 8 hours. And on Saturday, I spend 7 hours playing Civilization 5 with as many family members as I could gather.
Oh, okay.
Fair.
Sounds like fun.
So we had 7 people playing on Saturday, all playing Civ together.
Yeah.
So
Just like it was back in the day. You and your family create a civilization that lasts
yeah.
for however
Forever.
long you want to.
yeah.
Forever.
Forever.
Yeah, except we have different civilizations and we sometimes try and kill each other.
Yeah, well, that is also
just
family.
like a regular civilization.
Just like family.
Yeah, just like family. Yeah.
I know she's my cousin, my first cousin, but she puts one more stable in my territory. It's over.
Oh yeah, my little sister got so mad at me because we were playing and she and my cousin were debating about this one spot of land. They're like, hey, I want that spot of land. I want the spot of land. They were talking about it. In the meantime, I was building a guy to go and get that spot of land and I just didn't say anything. Because I was like 2 turns away from having my dude. And so I went and built a city there and they were so mad. They literally attacked me and took my city.
I would not want to be around that civilization, or give you guys the actual landmass to make that happen.
Yeah.
Well, Friday, Hunter and I watched Extraction with another friend.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
It was pretty good. It moved pretty well.
Yeah.
It had a good pacing. It
Chris
wasn't
Hemsworth always kicks ass.
Yeah, it wasn't all action, but it had a good bit.
Yeah.
I was kind of half paying attention to it because I was doing other stuff at the time, but I'm pretty much always multitasking while I'm watching something.
Well, at least we were able to use Netflix Party to watch it together while we were apart.
Yeah.
It was good. I finally finished Breaking Bad and watched El Camino.
I still have not finished Breaking Bad, and I've been in the last season for 5 years.
I understand you.
My husband took a couple days off work for the weekend and binge watched and finished Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I've never been so proud.
Very good. Very good.
Nice. Still not watching.
Your next Hunter.
Yeah. Whatever.
Watch it. We think you'll like it.
It's really good.
But today we are doing somewhat of a sequel to a previous episode. If listeners should recall, we talked about our favorite sci-fi weapons, and this week we're going to do another sales pitch like last time of our favorite fantasy weapons that we will try to convince each other and you to buy from us.
Maybe not favorite. For me, it would be too difficult to narrow down my favorite to 3. Yeah. But these are some good ones.
These are some good ones, yeah. Now, these weapons have to have a mystical element involved. They cannot be created by our technology, I don't see how they could ever be created by our technology unless you are some kind of warlock or witch or someone with, some angelic being or demonic being. Who am I to judge? Yeah. So, without further ado, Hunter, What is your first weapon that you have to sell to us?
Well, so who here likes using swords? You guys sword users? Yeah.
Yes.
But it can be tricky using swords sometimes because that usually means you have to get real close to your opponent.
But you just stick them with the pointy end, though, right?
It can leave you vulnerable. What?
You stick them with the pointy end, though, right?
No, you hold the pointy end and you whack them with the hilt.
I've been doing it wrong for so long.
Yeah. So yeah, a downside I always find with melee weapons, swords and such, is that you got to get close. You usually have to get really close to attack your enemy with it.
Intimate,
yeah. What if I told you there was a weapon that you could use that you didn't have to get close to use?
Like a bow and arrow?
No, it's a sword. And it's a super sharp sword. It's light, it's fast. It's basically the weapon type it's a katana. So if you like katanas, those are nice. They don't take up a lot of space. Again, as I said, light and fast. This one, it can also cut through space and time, and it can unlock your demonic potential. And it can, with the cutting through space, it can open up portals into other realms and stuff and help you travel.
Okay.
Also, it does a lot of things. It can also create spectral swords that you can shoot fire at your enemies. If you are not aware, this weapon is called the Yamato. Its previous owner was Virgil. He inherited the weapon from his father Sparta, the demon knight Sparta, and this is one of 3 weapons that kind of comes together and has these similar powers, but this one is the fastest, lightest, and again, it's the only one that I know of that can cut through space and time. So it's great. You can, if you're at a distance, you don't even have to take it out of its sheath most of the time. You just have to put your hand on it, and it's so quick it can make 1,000 cuts in the blink of an eye, wherever you want. Now, due to the original owner inheriting it from his father and having all this power, he's a little attached to it. So it might cost you quite a bit. You really have to put the work into it. It won't cost you any money. It just costs you possibly your life. But you have to fight him to the death, and you have to win. Otherwise, and if you don't kill him, he is definitely going to come after you and get this. So you really want to make sure it sticks before you get the blade. So what do you guys think? Are either of you brave enough to go for it?
No.
I mean,
you say brave, I say, am I stupid enough to go for it?
Well, are you strong enough?
Do you have anything else to live for? I mean, I kind of do.
Do you? Think of how impressive you will be with this weapon. Nobody's going to question you.
Yeah, but think of how unimpressive you would be if you're dead.
Yeah,
that's a risk you got to take.
Except you don't.
Is there some information about how to kill this guy so you don't die to get his weapon? Because
because if your advice is good luck, then pass.
So the first thing you could do is you could hire I think he calls himself a demon hunter. You could hire his brother. That is his brother Dante. You just call up Devil May Cry agency, and you have to know the password, of course, which I can provide you if you need it. And you can hire him to go kill his brother again. He's done it a couple of times, so he should be used to it. And then you'll see if he should hopefully be willing to
back up. So he's killed the guy we're trying to kill a couple times?
Basically killed. Yeah, he's defeated him.
So even if we do kill him,
So
wants to
again,
come after us.
Virgil hasn't been killed necessarily. He's been defeated. He's been trapped in another realm a few times. Obviously, Dante does not want to kill his brother, so you may want to keep him on retainer so that he doesn't come back for his sword. So Virgil doesn't come back.
So I guess the first thing I should do is try to get the sword after if and when I successfully kill him and take the sword, is to try to throw his body into an other dimension or something like that.
That is a good starting point. And remember, you can do that with his sword. So you got to get his sword from him and do it.
Okay. Does this draw attention to me? I mean, a katana usually
it's
supposed to be kind of subtle,
Yeah, it's just a katana. It doesn't look too out of place to the normal person. It has a dragon on the hilt, the bottom, whatever you call that, like the butt of it, I guess. Yeah. It's cool, but yeah, it shouldn't stand out too much.
Okay. I mean, I'll think about it. But I mean, if I want to, explore my potential, I can always go to a seminar. But if I want to, go all out, I'll look at it. I'll look at a sword. Look at what is this called again?
This is the Yamato. Yamato.
I'll check out Yamato.
It's spelled like tomato, except with a Y and an O, or Y and A at the beginning.
So your mama meets tomato?
Sure. Whatever. It's Yamato.
Okay. Cool. Well, I have a question for you two and anyone and everyone listening. Do whips and chains excite you?
Do what?
Do whips and chains excite you?
No, I'm not into that kind of thing.
Okay.
BDSM isn't really my sort of thing here. Maybe for Hannah it is. I don't know.
I'm like uncomfortable answering this, even though the answer is no. For some reason.
I don't know what you and Patrick are into, Hannah. You guys do you.
Really, yeah, you guys do you. It's 2020.
I mean, I haven't been down to your basement, so I don't know what it looks like down there.
Anyway, I mean, you guys in
room.
Well, my point was you guys didn't have to answer that question, and I really don't care to know. But if I did want to know, I would just pull out my trusty lasso of truth, forged by Hephaestus, and kept in the company of the Amazons. But I managed to do a little bargain hunting, and managed to scoop it up, and now it's in my possession. You can use this for a lot of things. If you got an enemy from far away, you can lasso them in, pull them in. It's unbreakable, and the best part about it is that if someone's holding it, you can make that person tell you the truth. And so that way you can always have the answer to whatever question you might want to know from them or from anyone. So never be lied to again. Maybe you can use it on yourself and remember things that you might have forgotten.
I'm not sure how that works.
You could try it out and see. So you should go ahead and buy it and find out. It's worth. The truth is worth it. If you can't handle it, then
So you said this was in the possession of the Amazons. I would imagine they weren't very willing to give it up, especially to a man.
I mean, I think they did want to verify, who was going to buy it, but
yeah. Do I get a discount?
I'm pretty sure that with them in the Bronze Age, it was pretty easy to do a little disguise and little name change.
Okay.
Wouldn't they have voice changer there?
Would they not have used the lasso on you to verify all of that?
Hey man, hey, I just they used I forgot the name of the shipping company. They got it. I got it expedited out of there, and there's no problem. So yeah, it glows too. In case you ever misplace it in your house, and that way you can always find it. You could probably just keep it, in some kind of satchel if you don't want everyone to see it. So yeah. You can ask whatever questions you want. Tie it to your SO or to a classmate if you want answers to a test. Yeah, be
Okay.
creative. But
How
also
mu-
you can of course use it to tie up enemies and throw them here, there, whatever.
And I'm
Violent
sorry.
stuff.
What is the price?
I mean, if you can't handle the truth, then you probably shouldn't. I mean, I'll take, but I'm also willing to do like PayPal, Venmo, your firstborn son. I mean, but I'm flexible.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, I was on board
Sure.
until you told me how much.
I mean, like I said, I'm flexible. I'm flexible.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it just seems it seems sketchy. I don't believe that you actually have it for sale because I don't believe that the Amazons would give it to you.
I'm holding it right now, so I'm telling you the truth that I'm willing to part with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to show you I'm holding it.
Okay.
Tough crowd.
All right. Well, I think that where you guys should invest your money is in what I consider to be possibly the perfect stealth weapon, which would be the short sword Sting. A short sword, first of all, is much better than if you're going stealth-wise, certainly daggers are a viable option, but a short sword's a little bit more intense. A little bit more lethal, but not nearly as big and bulky as any other kind of sword. But the reason that Sting is really beneficial is if you are near any orcs, it glows blue and warns you of enemies approaching, which is good if you are trying to hide. It can also be used as a light source.
But only if orcs are around?
Only if orcs are around.
Okay.
Tricky.
What if I don't come into contact with orcs on a regular basis?
Still a super bomb-ass sword.
Okay.
Love a short sword.
Yeah.
It's good for killing a lot of different things, not just orcs. It just glows blue around orcs.
Yeah.
Forged by elves, so quality craftsmanship.
I've heard I could also use it as a letter opener.
Depends on how big your letters are, I guess.
I mean, and I actually do own Sting myself, and I've actually used it to open letters. So I mean,
well, it looks like Josh doesn't need to buy it.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to buy it because more often than not, it's just kind of found sitting on a cave floor, and you just kind of grab it.
Okay.
So there's that.
So I'd have to beat an orc or troll or whatever to have maybe find it.
Not necessarily. Just go wandering around in some caves. Be careful.
Okay. Just be careful.
Is it possible that a dragon would be sitting on top of it?
I mean, it's possible, but
so you're saying you might have to venture into a dragon's lair to get this sword?
But it's free, so.
So if I have,
but from a dragon,
so I have to have another weapon to beat the dragon, potential or goblin or troll, and then I can get it.
Well, I mean, we might be able to throw in a free invisibility ring. No strings attached on that one either, of course.
Okay.
I actually prefer like a gold chain around it. That'd be useful.
Yeah, well, it doesn't work as an invisibility ring if it's on a chain. You have to actually wear it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, now
Isn't it great? I love it. So
you know what's even stealthier than a short sword?
A blue short sword.
that sounds less stealthy, actually.
No, but it's blue. It's pretty.
So, what about a weapon that doesn't have to be a weapon, but can be used to do just about anything you want?
So, like a sonic screwdriver, but fantasy?
No.
No?
I mean, kind of.
We're talking about something.
I am talking about a magic wand. Specifically, the best
know.
magic wand, the Elder Wand,
Mm,
which
is it
was
the best?
crafted by Death
a lot of
itself.
places claim they have the best magic wand. I'm skeptical.
Is it the best magic wand?
This one was crafted by Death itself.
Or is it just the best magic wand for dueling?
It's the best magic wand.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you can do whatever you want as long as you learn the spells. So it does take a little bit of
there's that whole
training.
Wand chooses a wizard kind of thing.
You mean to tell me I have to go to school before I can use a wand?
You do have to go to school. Well, you don't have to. Technically, you should to get the most out of it. But
is there a magic grad school? Because I'm done with high school by a long shot.
Yeah. There is. They have a special class, but special program. But to get this wand, it itself doesn't cost you anything. But you do have to defeat the previous owner in a duel.
This seems very similar to the last thing.
It's not. This is a wand.
No, but I'm just saying, the whole, hey, there's a super magical item, you have to fight the person who owns it.
You have to fight them personally. The last one you didn't have to fight. The first one you didn't have to fight them personally. Again, remember,
it's still the matter of you having to use an inferior weapon.
Well,
to try and kill the guy who has a superior weapon.
It's not necessarily.
Can I just kill the guy? Can I shoot him?
You can. You don't have to use a wand to do it.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
You can use anything, so it's not necessarily.
Use a blue short sword?
You could, but apparently you'd have to pay for that first.
Can I strangle him with a lasso?
You have to pay for the blue short sword?
Yeah, you could do anything. You could just punch them in the face if they just happen to be a weakling who has the wand. But yeah, so the cost it depends entirely on how creative you are, let's say. But yeah, you can do basically anything. Light up a room, find any item that you want ever, create a bunch of stuff, cast illusions. You can use it to fight people. You can use it to disarm. You can use it to shield yourself. You can use it to do, again, basically just about anything you want.
Cool.
See, I classify that as a tool and not a weapon.
Oh, it's definitely a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely a weapon.
I'm pretty sure I said the exact same thing about a sonic screwdriver.
But a sonic screwdriver can't kill anybody.
You could inadvertently kill someone.
Yeah, but okay, we're not on science fiction weapons.
And if you want a weapon, if you want a surefire weapon, though, Hannah, you could always sharpen the tip of it and stab someone.
You could. You could always you could throw
just,
it right at
cut
somebody.
off the edge of the wand and make it.
You know what? If you want, you could just make knives appear out of thin air and just fire them right at your opponent.
Yeah? What's the spell for that?
I don't know. I don't know these spells. I'm just the salesman here, okay? Salesperson.
Is there any skill involved in being able to cast a particular spell?
Some, yeah. But look up. I can give you the number of a private tutor. Her name is Hermione Granger, and she'll teach you. She's really good.
Sounds like she'd be difficult to get a hold of, or.
What about that makes it sound like she would be difficult to get a hold of? I just told you I could give you her number.
I don't know. It's a weird name. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So what do you guys think? Would you be interested?
I know some rappers that will be interested.
Okay.
Yeah. Give that to Eminem, and no one's taking. I don't think anyone's taking it.
Okay.
I think just a regular wand would be fine for me. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Josh.
Well, but I mean, why would you want a wand when you could have a sword, and not an actual broadsword? Not a broadsword. A short sword. Short sword, longer than a sting.
You have a problem with short swords?
I mean, I don't know. I have one, but I do like the standard sword, one-handed weapon, but this one has some extra benefits. Now, it's not it may draw a little attention, but who doesn't like some flash and substance with their weapon? Now, this one though, it's a sword that can kill the undead.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's made to kill the undead. It can kill anybody. It's called the dagger, as you're cutting them and stabbing them, and cutting their heads off. But it also gives you an extra bonus against zombies, phantoms, vampires, anything undead. And also gives it'll definitely put the fear of some deity in them because they run away as soon as you hit them with it, or if they see their comrades being hit with it. And there's a chance that as you cut your way through zombies and vampires, they may explode, which
Useful.
So you have a weapon here that can clear a room for sure.
But what if? But it's a sword, so if they explode, isn't that gonna hurt you? Isn't that gonna explode right on you, or at least get blood and guts everywhere on you?
I mean, maybe, but that's.
And that could spread diseases, and then you could die, and then you could spread the disease to others, and then you have a global pandemic on your hands.
Well, that's why you should be smart and wear a mask and gloves and cover your body.
But I'm not.
And wash your hands.
Use social distancing. Wash your hands. Be careful.
No.
I can't deal with you two today.
Now you do have to do this quest by this deity, of this light deity. You have to go into a cave, and of course you probably want to make sure you have some ways to beat some undead zombies and maybe a ghost or two. But after you beat them, you have the Dawnbreaker, so you can kill any other zombies or vampires or phantoms.
What if what if I don't come into regular contact with vampires or zombies or any undead type?
But Hunter, who says you won't?
Experience says.
Well, I mean, we always talk about zombie apocalypse. We're kind of over the zombie apocalypse, but it could happen tomorrow.
It could. I'm not planning on starting it for another month or two, but
okay, good. And of course, we vampires suck too, so I think this would be a good one to stick it to them.
Yeah.
Well, if I have a stake, I could just go ahead and do that against vampires, right? So,
but I mean,
why would I spend money on or why would I risk going in to get this whole sword, fighting all these creatures, if I can just sharpen a stake?
Because the stake has to go straight through the heart.
Yeah.
And the sword can go anywhere.
Exactly. Thank you. And they'll think, this human has a sword. He can't kill me with that. And then you just, suck it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stop saying
I could also just
in relation to the vampire.
Can't I also just make a silver sword? Or buy a silver sword cheaper?
This one lights everybody on fire.
Okay.
Extra if it's a zombie or vampire, though.
Okay, I'll consider it. I'll put it on my list just in case the zombie apocalypse comes.
Okay, thank you for your consideration.
If you're talking zombie apocalypse, and I don't know why I'm helping you, but if you're talking zombie apocalypse applications, you could also use it to kill an animal and then just hold the flat side of the blade on the meat and just cook the meat.
You could,
good survival situation kind of thing.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a good fire sword? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You can also do that with the Elder Wand, though. I'm just going to say. You can make fire real easily.
Anyway, Hannah, do you have a weapon to
I do. Sell? Yes. My next one is oh my gosh, my brain. My next one is
your brain.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
My brain.
Your brain is a weapon.
Magical. My brain. No, the next one I have is rather famous. Has gone down in some myths and legends as well as some more modern stories. It is the mighty Mjolnir.
Meow.
Meow. Mjolnir is Mjolnir. It is a giant hammer. That is great for gonna get a lot of blunt force trauma on people. You swing it around and throw it. It also allows you to control the weather and storms and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And although you probably could do that with an Elder Wand, to control some storms to some extent. There's probably a good bit of skill and practice involved. Yeah, and the hammer makes it very easy to do. Um, it also, if you rush it around and throw it, it will come back to you. So that's very cool. So it's actually surprisingly a ranged weapon.
So it's like a boomerang.
Kind of, but like a really large,
Hmm.
heavy boomerang that you could also just smack people with. So it works as both a melee weapon and a ranged weapon.
You
and
can smack
throw it
people
with
with a boomerang.
You can, but I don't know how effective it would be.
Okay.
Guess it depends on the boomerang. But a boomerang does not create storms. I also
guess
believe
that's-
Mjolnir will. You could also kind of use it to fly. If you use it kind of like a propeller.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So I don't think a boomerang will allow you to fly.
Fair enough. I have no argument points. I have no
I
argument.
don't know much
that.
about boomerangs, but I don't think they can make you fly.
Hmm.
You can make them fly, but
Yeah.
Now this is a how this hammer seems heavy. So is it like it seems like you would have to be in pretty good shape to use it.
No.
I mean, I can see like if it works as like I can see you throw it to fly now, or does it let you fly?
Nope.
while you're holding it?
Amount of strength is involved here. Nope.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
There's the whole matter of like having to be worthy, but.
So what does that mean? What does being worthy mean?
My mom thinks I'm worthy.
Well, then.
I mean, I'm not worthy.
That's
for
all
anything.
you need, right?
I'm not worthy for anything.
If your mom thinks you're worthy, who am I to argue? Honestly.
What if I'm not worthy for anything?
Well, would the maker of the hammer think I'm worthy?
Who did create?
What their opinion is.
I mean, I'd like to be able to, lift this hammer if,
No. If your mom thinks you're worthy, I don't know why I would argue.
Okay, I mean, so just one person has to think you're worthy?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
Okay.
You seem like a really shifty salesperson. So.
Yeah.
Nah.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to try this out on my own before I buy it.
Yeah. Is there a way we can
try before you buy?
Yeah. Is there a way we can do that? I mean.
No.
Anyway,
we come by and just pick it up and just.
Yeah. You see.
Maybe.
You're not quite.
You can rent it for a little bit, but I will require payment upfront for something.
What's the payment?
I'll think about that and get back to you.
Okay.
Okay. I'll come back to you later.
Okay.
So Josh, you said your last weapon, I forget what it's called already, but you said it fights the undead and kills undead, is very basically strong against undead.
Yeah, it's awesome. You should totally buy it.
Well, what if you didn't so much want to kill the undead as much as you wanted to control the undead and use them as your own weapon?
Sure, I can't see that going wrong at all.
No. First of all,
being like morally ambiguous.
So first of all, this weapon it guarantees full control over the undead. And you don't have to raise them. You can choose to raise who you want from into undeath. You can also, and it doesn't have to be like a zombie, basically, but you can also just take the spirit out of a dead body and twist it into that of a banshee. If you don't know, that's like a wailing ghost spirit thing.
Yeah.
It's very strong. It's very heavy, so you do have to have some strength to wield this. But again, you also have the power of anyone it consumes as well. That power always ends up going into the blade. Doesn't add to the weight or anything. In fact, it turns into your strength. You can. Well, basically, you have full reign over the undead. And it's
I'm gonna have to harp on this whole moral ambiguity thing, because I don't know how I feel about using corpses of X people to do my bidding.
Well, you don't
It
have
seems
to use.
like
I
I
think
would be
this is
unhappy
on.
about
I think
that.
this is on you if you choose to use the undead for bad purposes, for evil
No, it's not
deeds.
about using them for good things or bad things. It's about like if I was dead and buried and someone was like, "Oh, hey, I'm just going to like use your body to like go and have you do things for me." I would be like, "What the hell, man? Don't do
So
that.
that is an occasional problem
Leave
with
my corpse
this.
alone."
This
Yeah,
has
not cool.
been
Not cool, bro. Not cool.
Yeah.
that has been cited as a common side effect for this. But this is sorry, I forgot the name of the blade is Frostmourne. It is quite powerful, as I've said. It's actually part of a set. It comes with the set of armor, but you might not want to deal with that because that kind of binds your soul to watch over the gateway between the living and the dead. So you might want to
So
just kind of watch that.
so here's a question.
You also have control over frost, so
Okay,
you
wait.
can do ice
Question.
attacks and all sorts of stuff. You can also raise undead dragons to do your bidding.
It still seems rude. So here's my question, because obviously my biggest issue with this is I don't feel great about reviving people's corpses without their permission. I feel like that's rude. So my question is this: if I have control over the undead, but I don't have to raise them, if I see undead already kind of like hanging about, can I just be like, go back, be dead again?
You can.
Without hurting them, I'll just be like, okay, if you're not undead anymore, just go back to being dead.
Yeah.
I feel like
is
that would be my
definitely within your
preferred
range.
use.
Again, I said it gives you control over all undead.
Just walking
So
around.
again, if there is a zombie apocalypse, you can just say, "Hey guys, chill out. Go back to being dead." And
see, that seems like a more preferable, less disturbing use for it.
Between you and me, I'm used to selling these weapons to mass murderers and just evil tyrants.
Well, now I
and
just
stuff,
don't want to do
so.
business with you.
But
Well,
I mean,
could I just use
it's
the sword
refreshing to.
Well, what if I just wanted? Could I just use a sword if I wanted to, freeze things?
You could
Okay,
use it
okay.
for that. Again, this has a lot of utility in it as well,
Yeah.
being that it controls ice, frost, that element basically.
Okay. Now, if I got the sword and I was like, if I did want to do that, just got by the sword I just want to freeze things for fun, for help people out, be cool. But does that job of guarding the gateway between the living and dead, is that something that I would have to do like full time? Because I already have a full time job. It's not.
No, so the armor can that is imbued with the spirit that binds the wearer to control that. That is separate. The worst case is they're pretty evil already. So the worst case is they die because they don't have the sword with them. So you can return it if you were to feel like you should, but you don't have to.
Would I die if I return the sword?
No, if you return the sword, you have the ability to take on the armor and everything and take the place of that.
Okay.
Take on that role, but it's not necessary.
Okay.
You can return the sword just by returning the sword,
So
and then you just won't have it.
What I'm hearing is you were gonna take this weapon from someone who needs it and will die if they don't have it.
They chose to cast it off. So they chose to throw it away somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's
it's up to you.
convenient.
And the price is a bit steep. Not as bad as some things. You may care less about moral ambiguity at that point because it does cost you your soul for eternity. But other than that,
are you sure you can't take a check?
Are
you sure?
I'll talk to
I finally got PayPal.
I'll talk to my guy. I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cash out.
I'll talk to him.
Please do.
Okay.
Because I know it's supposed to be a hot summer, so I'm thinking about I like the whole frost thing.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah. Well, my final weapon that I will sell is not so much you wouldn't immediately consider it a weapon unless you wanted something to smack someone across the head with. But this is something that you would just keep on your person. Say you're walking down an alley and you're surrounded by thugs, vagrants, people that mean you ill will. What do? Just you just take it out, and it's a mask. and you put on the mask, and you become the mask. So instead of having a gun, a knife, a taser, pepper spray, you can, have access to hammer space and pull out any weapon that you might need. And of course, it gives you strength you need to fight off enemies. Do whatever you need to do. Punch a building.
I can punch buildings already.
Why would I ever need to punch a building?
I mean, well, have you ever had a bad day?
That building wronged me, and I just needed to get some revenge.
I mean,
Screw you, building.
Apparently, Josh just punches buildings when he has a bad day.
Well, hey, man, building started it,
I don't know that it did.
I don't know. I do not know.
You don't know buildings like I do. Anyway. But yeah, you'll have like nigh invulnerability. Make your enemies run, cry, laugh, fear you. It seems like and just take it off whenever you're done.
I just want them to love me.
Some people will love you, but most people fear you and you question your sanity and decision making. And
people already question my sanity.
Yeah. So what do you got to lose?
Do I have full control over myself while wearing this thing?
There's not a lot. You control putting the mask on and taking it off sometimes. But I mean, it's you're kind of getting.
Can we
to
rewind to that sometimes?
Well, I mean, you're mostly interacting what you would do in that situation, where you an unhindered individual, say like a cartoon character, and just wreak havoc or maybe do a lot of good,
But
I'm not sure what.
But no guarantee that I would do what I intended to do when I put on.
You might do a little more, but if you're gonna do something, go 110%.
So this sounds like I'm basically losing control of myself.
I'm a big fan of free will. Personally.
Yeah, me too.
What's wrong with losing a little control? I mean, I think we're all so uptight. We're all suckers to schedules and whatnot.
That's what the whips and chains we talked about earlier for.
Yeah.
But I think the benefits of being nigh invulnerable and having hammer space and making people break out in song and dance seem like a definite plus to having this mask and enjoying if you like, and it comes in it only comes in one color, green. So
I thought it came in brown.
It looks brown when you have it. It's just to deter the curious, but once you put it on, you're smoking, baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my final weapon is a little bit unconventional for a weapon.
Many of these are.
They are.
Yeah.
Well, this is something that has been they're usually used for defense. Solely defense purposes, but it's been a little bit remastered, revamped to be more offensive, not offensive, whatever. You know what I mean?
That's so offensive.
I'm so offended.
I know. I'm talking about Aegis. In case you don't know how that's spelled, that's Aegis. It's hard to pronounce.
I've heard it is Aegis.
I have too, but I looked it up on the internet and it says Aegis.
Aegis.
So Aegis it is. The Aegis is a shield. That it was owned by Zeus, and he let Athena borrow it sometimes. But the thing that makes it really special is it's got a Gorgon head strapped to the front. And for those of you who don't know, if you look into the eyes of a Gorgon, you turn into stone. So,
if you're really trying to sell this to a specific crowd, you could just say if you look at it, you get stoned.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard sell.
Yeah.
I hate you guys. So we will provide a cloth to go over it so that you don't have to worry about showing it to people that you know. Put a cloth over it, you'll be fine. But if you're out and someone's coming towards you and you're like, dude, back off, I'm warning you, and they don't back off, you just go, shoop, and then they're a statue. And you're good to go. So could also be really useful if you're, trying to go on the offensive. Pretty simple ranged way to take people out, especially if they're not expecting it, because they're like, why do you have a cloth on your shield? And you're like, foop, and then they're stone.
They're stoned. Okay.
So
Yeah.
no can defense.
I mean, wow.
So
And
can
it's
you?
gonna suck if they have to go to work. It's gonna suck if they have to go to work later. But
Well, we're under the assumption that you would kill them some other way if you didn't have this shield.
uh,
So
Okay. Why do
seems
you
like a
just
very
assume?
humane.
Why do you just
Because we're
assume I
talking
would kill
about
someone?
weapons. Because we're talking about weapons. And if you're in battle and you're trying to fight the opposing team, you could get up and close and personal and swing a sword around, or you could try and fire a bow and arrow, or you could just be like, whoosh, and then they're all stone. And it's humane, painless. They're just immediately not a problem.
Can you reverse the effects of this?
yeah, that's a good question.
Well, it was Zeus's at one point in time, so I'm sure if you talk to him, he'll get that worked out for you.
I feel like yours seems to be a theme with you where yours are kind of sketchy. You're kind of sketchy.
I'm hoping that
Sketchy.
are you going to throw in some extra things here? I mean, do we have a way to call Zeus to undo somebody? Do we have like?
You guys ever heard of
unlimited-
prayer?
Do we have like an
I don't
unlimited?
pray to Zeus.
I don't.
I just don't understand why this whole time you're like, oh yeah, we're talking about swords and how you can use this to kill people, and then I'm like, don't kill them, just turn them into stone, and you're like, but what if I want to reverse
but that
it?
sounds like they're.
What if I need information?
How do we know that this doesn't just freeze them and keep them alive, but just basically in a paralyzed state
or
forever?
just turn them into a rock?
Then you
And
not a boulder.
What if
off a
someone
cliff or
accidentally like bumps into them and they fall over and shatter?
What doesn't matter? They're already dead.
So it does kill them.
So turning them to stone
Yeah.
kills them.
Yeah,
Okay.
So why not just use a sword?
because you have to get up close and personal.
That doesn't seem very humane
it
to
hurts.
freeze them to stone.
Okay.
Plus, I recall I've heard legends of this, and I recall that people have come back from being turned into stone. So it doesn't sound like they do die.
Magic is weird, man. You can talk to Zeus. You can get Aslan to breathe on them. I mean, there are ways to do it, but they are few and far between.
Okay. Then now you're gonna throw in some cloths, like a Kleenex thing dispenser on the sides, because it sounds like you're gonna run out of cloths if you're just gonna keep flashing people.
No, it's just like
Why are you
a black
flashing
piece of
people all the
cloth
time, Josh?
that you just take off and then you put it back on.
Well, Hannah's the one selling me this thing where I can flash people, and
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
It's just so you
Hannah's
can
the
like
pervert.
store it and not like turn yourself into stone or your friends.
Yeah.
You make sure you're pointed in the direction of the enemy, and then
Yeah, you don't want to get stoned. You want to stone
Yeah.
your friends. You want
Yeah.
to get your friends and family stoned, or your enemies stoned, I guess. Okay.
yeah, I put it.
It seems sketchy to me.
I'll recommend to a friend. You know, I would do that. I don't know.
I'm just saying, if your focus is more on protecting yourself rather than taking down other people, it's a good way to pretty much guarantee that no one's gonna mess with you.
It seems
Except for
like
the-
a
except for the
bloodless,
snakes.
more terrifying option.
except for the snakes on the head, you know, I worry about that.
It's a big shield.
No, okay.
They're only
it's
like
not-
half
so it's a
snakes,
big
they can't
shield. So
really-
it's kind of heavy. Sounds like it would be really heavy if it's a big shield.
It's I don't know. It's made of vibranium.
Okay, so it's Captain America's shield just with a Gorgon head on it.
Wait a minute, that's not right.
Okay.
No.
I'm gonna stop
Sounds
doing that. I think we should just. This is just gonna keep going if I keep.
Sounds like we
thinking
have
of
some. Yeah, it sounds like we all have a good bit of
Did I mention I worked 8 hours
wild
yesterday?
and. Well, good for you, Hannah. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah.
Did I mention I've been awake for 8 hours at least today?
Wow, 8 hours of being awake.
Yes.
Did I mention I had to find all these weapons and
Yeah.
try to sell them to you?
Yeah.
I haven't slept in 12 months.
It's been a long time.
Anyway, yeah, those were some great magical fantasy weapons, and each have their own specific uses, or some are just fancy ways of killing people. But yeah, let us know.
Sword is blue.
What if you don't like blue?
Who doesn't like blue?
A percentage of the population.
Who cares about them anyway?
Yeah, who cares? But anyway,
Too small.
we hope you all enjoyed our sales pitch, our second sales pitch, and we hope that you maybe check out these
First one.
and see which ones you liked, and let us know if you have any ones you want to mention. But that's all we have for today. What's next week's episode? Hunter.
Next week, we are talking about our favorite fan theories. So this isn't like fan fiction or anything, stories that we want, but more things that like backstories or meanings behind some of our favorite stories that we think we have the evidence to support, or we don't, but it's a stretch and still has something to say. Just things that are fun, you know. I don't feel like I should have to explain this very well. It seems like I would assume people
I
would
agree.
know that. Yeah. But yeah, so that's next week. I'm excited for that one. Been looking forward to it.
Oh no.
Josh, you're fading away. We need to wrap up.
No. But yes, that's all the time we have today for this week's episode. Tune in next week and check out our older episodes. But we will see you soon. Until then, nerd out.
Goodbye. Farewell. Adios.
I just did.